Hey guys, another video here coming to you from Naples, Florida. Dave Jackson and my therapeutic journey, my keto therapeutic journey, right? My journey into therapeutic ketosis. And why? It's because I've been diagnosed with the big C word, and that is cancer. And if you have cancer, I want to be able to reach out to you and maybe help you along with your journey as well. So for me, the whole idea of doing the therapeutic ketosis, because of the tumors involved, is to starve them further from any of the glucose, the sugars that they enjoy. So if you've read anything about it, or if you studied anything about how tumors survive, for the most part, not all tumors, some tumors adapt to just about anything. Matter of fact, a lot of tumors adapt to just about anything, but for the most part, they adore sugars, and if we can get the sugar content down, we're doing really good, and ketogenesis does that really, really well. So if your body can feed off of ketones and the cancers can't, then you're in a good place. So what I want to talk about today, and let me just get a LaCroix tangerine. I don't receive any money from them yet. No, just kidding. I love these things though. And it helps me stay hydrated, which is really good on, on anything you're doing. If you're doing a diet or if you're doing just a day-to-day living, you want to stay hydrated. So I had my first visit with an oncologist. Now, I've never been to an oncology place. I can barely say the word. And I, wondered for forever how that whole operation worked. My thinking was, okay, they kind of set you up with some kind of a plan where either you receive chemotherapy or you go in, have an operation, then they radiate you, try to get rid of the cancer cells that survive the operation. And that's basically how it works, I guess. That a lot of people go into these things like totally not knowing any. I mean, I didn't Google it, didn't do anything. And I suppose it's just one of those areas that we don't talk a lot about, and that makes it sort of a mystery when we get there. So that's what it was for me. Not a lot of people in my family have ever dealt with cancer. It doesn't run in my family. And so it was kind of all brand new for me. So when I got there, I was met by a nurse named Joy, which was really nice. I chose, because of my dealings with the Moffitt Cancer Center up in Tampa, which was indicated by, you normally get like a doctor's indication. My gastro guy indicated Moffitt Cancer Center in Tampa, which is like, 2.5 hour drive from here. But I mean, these people really know what they're doing. I went up there as far as identifying cancers. Treatment, I'm not totally on board with, because I think a lot of doctors, conventional medicine is their way to go, and they don't believe in metabolic therapies and, treating cancer as a metabolic disease. So I have a problem with that. They see it differently. So my gastro guy sends me up to the Moffitt Cancer Center in Tampa, and that's how that's how you're normally referred, right? Your doctor refers you. And they did all of the work up there as far as seeing what I had, doing a biopsy that was done probably a week ago, and coming up with, hey, you have what appears to be gallbladder cancer. So the next step was, you need to find somebody down in Naples, in your city, an oncologist who can work with you, because you don't want to be coming all the way up here to do your chemo and stuff like that. As much as I love those people up there, it's like a long drive, And the whole idea was, now you're kind of off on your own, and we'll help you with just about everything, but this is something you got to do by yourself. So one of the nurses up there mentioned Florida Cancer Specialist. She said that they had the ease to work with them because they could transfer documents pretty easy, and they knew a lot of the people. So I went out and started looking at the Florida Cancer Specialist website for the Naples area. And there's a lot of offices here in Naples because we have a big elderly population, and there's a lot of cancers in the elderly population, yes. But what I found was that you go to the website and you have these pictures of the doctors, right? And then each doctor's picture, you click on that, takes you to the doctor's page, and then each page had a video of them, sometimes a video of them and a video of one of their patients, like a testimonial. So it was interesting. It was like trying to pick an oncologist in a lineup, you know. But what I did is, and I guess this is what everybody does, you know, I mean, for the most part, because this is not something that you get help from your local doctor. You know, your personal physician doesn't go, I would go to this guy because I have, you know, known him for years and I know he does a good job. It's not like that. It's like, you know, go out and choose your own. So what I did is I went through a lot of the names and videos. I took all of the names, at least the ones that were like in my area and also in my insurance, you know, they were in my network, as you say. And I would find out what papers they'd written, maybe if they've written any papers. I found one guy that had written papers on keto, using the keto diet and all that, but the guy doesn't, he's not here in Naples. And showed that he moved up to Tampa. He's not in Tampa. I don't know where he is, but he's gone, right? But I finally came at one of the last ones on there was this doctor named Ferdy Santiago, and for some reason I felt this vibe with him. He's like a younger guy, and he has more of a relaxed voice and didn't seem as crusty as some of the other cancer specialists there. So I went with him. So you call the number and you say, I want this doctor, you know, and then they line you up with his nurse, and then, you know, the rest is like a process, that paperwork and stuff, and you can actually have the doctor of your choice if he has room for you, I suppose. So I went to the visit, which was yesterday, and, you know, I mentioned to them, it's kind of weird, like choosing you guys, you know, off a website, but that's the way it is. They handed me a ton of paperwork as soon as I got there, like stuff that, and this is Florida Cancer Specialist, stuff that you could do online. It was like maybe 25 pages of regular paper, size paper, you know. And I went through that, and there's just and there's a lot of repetition in there too. And I don't think this is the way they do it. They don't like actually go in and retype all that. They just scan it and put it in your system as a scanned piece of paper. So, I mean, it's in there like that, and it could be done differently, but that's the way they do it. This is 2021. They called my name moments later after a weigh-in and, you know, measurement of how tall I was. They took me to this room where everybody was getting their blood drawn, you know, and I go, what? Blood work? And they took my blood pressure and then immediately prepared me to draw blood. And I go, oh my gosh, you know, I didn't know this was coming. I thought I was just going to speak to Dr. Fergie, right? But no, they took 5 vials of blood, and you guys know how much I love needles. So that was a little crazy there, but they said, yeah, every time you come in here, we're going to do blood work. Okay. So then I go into this room, wait for the doctor, close the door. That lets them know that the patient's in the room. And Nurse Joy came to the door, and she sat down and got on the computer and started asking me a bunch of questions. Very nice person. And I had a lot of questions for her too, you know, telling her it was the very first time that I'd been to an oncologist, and that it was a brand new experience for me. Didn't know what I was doing there, what I was supposed to ask, you know, what was a procedure, what's going to happen next. But I really wanted to find out about how often they do measuring, you know, how often they take pictures and scans and these CT scans and PT, you know, PET scans and stuff. And I found out that it's very often they want to see what they're doing is actually making the tumor, if we're gaining ground, losing ground, whatever. And so that was good news for me, because I want to find out if my therapeutic ketosis diet is actually, having some kind of marked push against this beast, right? So she also wrote down all my supplements. It's easy to do because I have the Chronometer app. I just go down through okay, it's 200 milligrams of this, and this and that and the other, and no big deal for that. Then the doctor walks in and does a fist bump, kind of cool guy. He's like bald and has the doctor garb, tennis shoes on. It's really cool experience, a good vibe for him. And I told him that I felt a good vibe, and he liked that. The first thing he got into was getting a second opinion on everything that we're gonna do, which I knew I didn't know what we're gonna do. But I thought it was kind of cool that he was going to get a second opinion instead of one of those guys. Sometimes you expect the doctor to just say, hey, it's my way or the highway. We're going to do it like this, and then this is what you're going to do. Come back Tuesday. We're going to get everything fixed up. No, it was like, I know some of the higher up specialists at Moffitt Cancer Center up there in Tampa that are friends of mine. I'm going to get like a second opinion. We're going to all look at the same pictures and stuff like that, and come to a consensus. You get more eyes on what's going on. I thought it was a great idea, actually, because you want more heads looking. Like the guy could think one way and this other doctor go, well, maybe not, or maybe we should do this, so we'll see what happens when that information comes back from Tampa. I'm not sure if I have to go up to Tampa and do anything. Didn't say that, but he did say the second opinion thing. For me, from when I spent my time up in Tampa, my nurse up there, Nurse Alicia Chin, she said to me the way that we handle cancer is that we take it out. And she said, but if the cancer appears to have spread anywhere in the body, we don't operate. We just go straight to chemo. And the reason why is because we don't want to be chasing the cancer all through the body. So for me, the first and only CT scan that I've done to date showed that there may be some little suspect spots on my, in my abdominal area. They want to take a look at that. And that was proof enough, I guess, for everybody that the cancer was not just in my gallbladder area, that it actually started, taking its wild journey around my body. So this is not, there's two types I found of cancers. One is that, it's like farmers. They just stay in one place, don't go anywhere, just do the little thing right there. The other type, like warriors or whatever, and they go out and find different things to conquer and kill and whatever, So I got the kind that like to go on trips. So chemo is the way. So I'm thinking, okay, chemo is the journey I'm going to go on. That means that I have to be okay with chemotherapy, and I am, because I've read a lot with this therapeutic ketosis, that it goes hand in hand with conventional therapies such as chemotherapy. And the last thing we talked about, I told him, I said, hey, I just want to let you know, I'm in ketosis. I'm following this therapeutic keto diet. And he was okay with it. He didn't say, no, that's crazy. You're going to kill yourself. He just said, I'm okay with it. Doesn't mean that, I'm not like endorsing it or anything. But if it causes any conflict, we got to talk about that. And I said, yeah, sure. And, it was good. And the nurse also, had nothing to say about the keto diet. And she said, that, it just sounded like a good thing. So that part's good. And let me tell you briefly, if you're just watching this video for the first time, none of my other journey videos, that the way that the ketogenic diet works, nutritional ketosis, or this therapeutic ketosis as it's called, is you get the body so deep into ketosis, but not into ketoacidosis. We don't want to go there. But we're like, running on ketones all the time. that most cancer cells, most metastasizing cancers, do not have the ability to take ketones as a food. So you're like starving. Now, cancer cells, they're strong, hard to kill, but they're already sort of messed up. The mitochondria that like surrounds the cell is all crappy looking. It's not normal. So then when you punch it with, hey, well, you're not going to get any food in my body because I'm not going to feed you sugars and not going to feed you, try not to have my body get into a place where it's making like a little bit of lactose, because some of these guys can adapt and use lactose instead of glucose. So we want to try to inhibit all the glucose and glutamine that we can from them, because they'll use that as food. So now they're half starving, and then the next punch you get is like a chemotherapy, chemicals coming down that are looking for damaged cells, stuff like that, or weaker cells. And these guys at that time, they're going to be weak because they haven't eaten, they're not strong as they were before, and we're going to knock them out with that. That's why it works so well with the chemotherapy. So I'm encouraged. I'll let you know more. I noticed I have a PT scan or PET scan coming up on the 13th of the month at 2 in the afternoon. I'll let you know how that goes. But for now, my next thing is I have a appointment tomorrow with the surgeon who is going to do, this is the weird part for me, to do the port installment on my body. I'm not sure which side they're going to pick. They prepare you on both sides, I've been told, and then when they get you in surgery, you're out. They make a decision. Then you wake up with this badge of courage on your chest somewhere, or somewhere on your body. So for me, it's still in my head. It's like hard because it's like that kind of like is a branding, like, okay, you do have cancer, it's not like you just have maybe some symptoms we can't really see in your body. I mean, it shows up on a picture, but is that really you, But then when you have this real life thing on you, that kind of hits it home, as they say. So that's going to happen on Monday, but tomorrow I get to go visit him. I'm not sure why they do it this way, but I go and talk to the surgeon tomorrow, and then on Monday, that's when they do the installation of the port. And then Rachel, my daughter, will be driving me home here, because you do have to go into recovery because you're totally sedated, which is, I love that part. I love the part where they put you under, you don't even know what happens, and you wake up and everything's done. There's a little pain, but I mean, you didn't have to be awake during the surgery, which is fine with me. All right. The sun is going down. I normally take a little beach walk around this time, so we'll see you guys tomorrow. And thanks so much for joining me here.